Dinamer, director, writer, journalist. I think that you have a lot of babies right now because you told me that you are working in several projects. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for let us coming in your house. And yeah, and I must tell you that I'm really excited about this interview because I've been trying to get the contact with you and it's been so hard. And just one day before we are going to screen the movie, your movie, we're making this interview. Amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure, and I'm really happy to be sharing the film with this community, you know?
Your entry point to the character of Hasna at the film was through the previous work as a journalist, covering
Yeah.
the back of Bataclan theater and this horrible November in Paris. That experience ultimately led your decision to leave the journalist because you felt that the industry didn't do the story justice. Does the journalist fall in this kind of histories?
No, I don't think it's the journalist's fault necessarily. I think there are some noble journalists who really are risking their lives to tell honest storytelling that otherwise wouldn't exist. That's definitely the reason why I initially joined that field as a journalist. But personally, I felt like, especially with the story on kind of like Muslim identity or Arab identity in the news post 9/11, but probably even before 9/11, was very sensational, very negative. There's always this connotation of always connecting like the Arab identity to terrorism. Like for example, in the U.S., when we have a problem with mass shootings, and usually, in most cases, the demographic of the shooter is what they call a single lone wolf, which is like uh, a a white man who doesn't belong to any group, and he has mental issues, and the news always talks about his mental issues. They don't say this is an act of terrorism. you know they the terrorism labels only left for a certain identity. You know what I mean? And even today, when you see what's happening in Gaza, you know that the post 9/11, decades of reporting which really vilified the Arab or the Muslim identity is what's allowing the dehumanization of Palestinian people and their killing. You know,
Nina, let's focus on the movie. How did you get to the plot?
It was it's really incredible. I didn't choose this story. The story chose me, truly. That's not like a nice saying. It is the truth. Like I said, I would have never made a film in France or about this subject, and yet everything just in my life drew me, and I was obsessed and possessed. And being a journalist originally, I actually reported on the story, um, and I was at the scene of the Bataclan. Sorry, not at the Bataclan, in Saint Denis. I was there when shortly after that bomb went off. When Hasna was screaming, "Please let me go! I want to leave." And so I reported, just like every other journalist, that Hasna was the first female suicide bomber, which was fake news. But the police had confirmed it at the time. And I felt so bad about perpetuating a negative and false headline that would only, harm, like, not only women's position in that community more, but also, like, I was like, I need to go and amend this. I have to go and find her family, and I did. And they didn't let anyone through their doors except for me, and it's because the mom felt that I resembled her daughter, who she had abandoned, which is so wild. it was just like it was just undeniable that I was meant to walk through that door and go down that rabbit hole and tell the story, because the truth is, making this film in so many ways saved my life. It really did. It was a big gift to me, this film. It wasn't just a job. It wasn't a job at all. I mean, of course it required work beyond I could ever imagine for years of my life, like the biggest commitment. But this film was like a soul journey for me, you know?
Mhm.
Really was. That's why when I say the film shows me, I mean it, you know? Like, I didn't realize in the beginning, but there were so many things in this story that reflected my own story, you know? And that I had to, through making this film, it it unleashed so much healing in my life, you know? And I wasn't the same person when I started the film. When I finished the film, it was like maybe some of the things that I struggled with, that she struggled with, and died because of, I got to heal by telling her story and finish the film as through healing and not through pain. It was really, really remarkable. And so my challenge was to bring love to such a painful story, you know, a story that was just steeped in the darkness of the dark, you know, and the pain of the pain, like, and to try to bring love there, try to bring those little girls and their pink dresses and their play and their love for each other, and Hasna's vulnerability, her attempt to find love in this world because she did not love herself enough, you know?
Mhm.
That was my struggle, to make the audience understand that other than what they read in the newspapers, which is just fear and terror and horror, and oh my God, who are these crazy people? They're not human. To be like, no, factually they are human,
Mhm.
and their heart was broken many times over, just like your heart. Every human being has to go through some form of heartbreak, you know? It's a rite of passage, you know? And so that, you know, in some ways, I think when you understand that, when you understand these people's stories, these people who, you know, end up in the news, and you understand you know, there's a saying that always landed with me, which is, if you knew everyone's story, you'd fall in love with them. I mean, even in the cinema room right now, would you want to be defined by the worst thing you ever did, and that's it, nothing else but the worst thing you ever did? Of
Mhm.
course, there's degrees, right? But still, in the concept of it,
Mhm.
no, we are more than the worst things we've ever done. I want to believe that, like, especially when there is a desire for redemption, that not that people can just be absolved and instantly forgiven, but that we could actually do the work as a society to understand why terrible things happen. Because guess what? That person is a symbol of many other people who
Mhm.
can fall through the same into the same pothole.
There's something I don't understand about you. Yeah, yeah, because I don't understand why you make the decisions to leave your work as journalist, because you were reporting that horrible November at Paris, and suddenly you decide to leave your job as a journalist, and you start to build, to construct a film, a fictional film, not a documentary film, that it could be something more close to your kind of job. But no, okay, let's make a fiction film, but in a special fiction film. So why? Let me see a bit of light of this decision.
You know, I felt like I really wanted intimacy in this film. And there's no intimacy, or not enough, if definitely not if it's a news report, right? A 10-minute news report where there's just talking heads, different people who knew her speaking, you know, about her in you know, as in third person instead of directly being with her, you know. And the same goes for a documentary. Even if I put photos and videos of her and people talking about her, it's not like being with her.
Mhm.
And she's no longer here. But I did over 360 hours of interviews. I interviewed everyone in her community, everyone who knew her, everyone who, you know, her foster care mother, her sister definitely was one of the main people who I spent time with, her mother, her father, everyone, right? And really had a visceral sense of feeling who this girl was and really identified with her. I understood her very early on because I could understand her specific wounds. I could understand them, you know? And so I was like, I want you to be with her as a child. Hearing all these stories about their matching dresses and running through the market and, you know, stealing food to eat and how it was fun and games until they got caught, all these things. I don't want it to just be someone sitting and, you know, someone's talking about it. I want you to experience it.
Mhm.
And only the power of cinema can do that. You know, and also I kind of wanted you to forget that this was a true story.
Mhm.
Because once I tell you, hey, if I started the film with the news, you go into the film with judgment right away,
Mhm.
with your preconceived ideas of who she is and what she did. And oh, let me pull out my phone and look up this story again. And you're out of it. You're in your own world.
Mhm.
I wanted you to watch this film as her life was. She was not born into this world as France's first female terrorist, which she wasn't even, right? That was a fake headline, but she was not born into this life with that decision of or that choice or that headline or that judgment. She was born into this world as a little girl
Mhm.
who liked to wear dresses and liked to play with her sister and who was very mischievous. I wanted you to know her as she came into this world and then see how a little girl who is worthy of love but is broken inside, even as a child,
Mhm.
evolves into that choice. And for you to be like, because that's how it happened in her life. That's how it happened. It was a process.
Mhm.
Didn't happen overnight. She wasn't born evil.
Yeah, of course.
You know? And so I wanted the audience to experience that and to also experience, like, I remember her sister, when she saw the film, she was shocked because she's like, you know, she was like, I didn't think there would be so much beauty in it. And I was really happy she said that, you know? Because for me, I know it's a hard film sometimes to watch for some people because she went through a lot of violence. And by the way, the violence in the film is like the PG version, the Disney version of. She went through even more, but I couldn't to put it in a film would be too much. You know what I mean? Like this girl went through so much. You know, it's a brutal and it's crazy because you realize there are so many, like, right before the point she chooses to join that or she becomes kind of, you know, I don't know, a fan of what her cousin and all of this. Right before that point, I'm sure a lot of people are like, because they tell me, I know a girl like Hasna, you know, a girl who's a bit broken, who has, you know, is a bit too wild, who no one takes seriously. All to say that cinema was the only medium for me that could create that immediacy, that intimacy, could put you into her process directly. Yeah.
How did you get to the visual concept of this film? Because it's a mix, even experimental film as well.
Yeah. The film breaks a lot of rules because the first act, you think it's like coming of age about two little girls. Second act, like, oh, wait, it's actually about the older sister more, and her identity is shape shifting and she fractured. We don't know who she is. And then, whoa, like by the end of when the bomb goes off, it's a documentary. And I felt like it kind of, I like films that really reflect the essence of the film. And the essence of the film for me, the main issue with her is that she did not know who she was.
Mhm.
She had an identity crisis.
Mhm.
And so the film also has an identity crisis. You know what I mean? It's like a first act, like, oh, it's about two girls. No. Okay, it's kind of, the second act is like has a little bit like really intense, violent, like horror vibes almost. You know, her face is morphing and the music is more intense. And then like the last act is like this really gritty documentary. And I'm like, this is, you know, I want you to go on a ride where you don't know where the film is going. because she didn't know where she was going. She was just in pain and she needed to go somewhere. You know, quickly, 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 something to make this pain go away. Anything. Alcohol doesn't work anymore. Okay, this group, they say they're gonna, you know, take me in as I am and wash me like a newborn baby, and they'll accept me. Okay, I'll go there. And you know what I mean? Because it's just such a panic inside to find something to make the pain go away. You know, so that's the film has like this like speed to it, and it always shape shifts, just like her.
Mhm. Wow, congratulations. What
Thank
can
you
I
so
say?
much.
Yeah, congratulations. I really love
Thank
this
you.
film. What
Thank
can I
you.
say? Dina, how do you get to such a good producers like Spike Lee, Spike Jones? How do
Yeah.
you get that? I don't understand.
You know, it's crazy. Spike Lee was my professor at NYU. I was at NYU for only like a semester and a half, and then I dropped out because I was on scholarship, but still like I had to make a choice of either raising money to stay in the program or just leaving the program and raising money to make the film. And ultimately I decided to leave the program and make my film. Spike Jones I met because when I was a journalist at Vice, he was the creative director. And I told him, listen, I have this amazing, like, not, I mean, it's not amazing, like this story I'm obsessed with and that I want to make a film about. And so he was very supportive, bless him. And I'm very grateful to him and to Spike Lee and to Alma and to Riz. I'm very lucky I have incredible executive producers and artists who I really look up to, you know. So it was just kind of like my journey. I don't know, you
Mhm.
know, like I don't. They were just in my path, and the film really spoke to them.
Mhm. Dina, just to finish the interview, thanks a lot. But first of all,
Thank
I
you.
want to tell you something. We need directors like you.
Oh, thank you
Really
so much.
silent directors. Uh, Let me congratulate you one more time because I really love this film. We love this film because we see all the Akira, so that film. So please continue in this way. We are waiting for your new film. I know that you are working as producer, as a director. So let us know if you do something. And please, you are invited to San Paul de Mar
Thank you.
to our theater to pass your movie. Okay?
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate that. So, the next one we continue, you know,
Yeah.
hopefully. So yeah, I will be in touch. And so much love to everyone in the cinema. And thank you so much. Thank you, really.